So let's start off talking about the Fajan. I'll tell you how I came to know it. A few years ago, I was looking for one of those paintings painted by elephants. When I did a little bit more research, I found out they're not really painting those, the elephants. The elephant is more like the brush. They're not deciding what to paint. They're not even probably aware that they are painting. You'll find that there's some type of Pirates of the Penzance looking proctologist, elephantesque, behind them. And you're like, what's with the guy up their butt? What they're doing is guiding the elephant using a bull hook. If you want to make yourself sick, go look up what a bull hook is. And they are poking and prodding and torturing this elephant into painting this picture by telling it how to move the brush. You'll see that they generally have a red rope tied around their leg, or they will have a chain on them. Why don't they break that? For fear of the Fajan. It's a terroristic process that is a soul eliminator for elephants. They're not expressing themselves. They're doing what they're doing for fear of having to relive that horrific experience. And in Thailand, that's called the Phajaan. In the US, that's called high school. So that's what's really going on there when those elephants paint those paintings. In case you were thinking of getting one, let me just cut to the chase so that you know what those really are and how they come to be. So needless to say, I did not end up buying one of those paintings. Instead, I did a lot more research on the Fajan. And what the Fajan will do is it will cause us to see things that are not there as if it's reality, and not see things that are right in front of us. We miss things. We don't see things as they are anymore. We've been Fajaned. Now, I've done a recent book on the Fajan, and I'll put a link in the description for those of you who'd like to learn more about that and how you can recognize it in yourself and others, because here's the deal. It's interesting, an elephant, they're one of the few species that can recognize themselves in mirrors. And oddly, of all the species, it's like primates, dolphins, people, elephants, and chickens. We have so much to learn about what's really going on around us, but the way you escape the Fajan, the way, for example, Carlos the painting elephant in my book escaped the Fajan, is he recognized who he was. You have to remember who you are. And when you help other people remember who they are, you can only do that with love. When you do that, that in turn, ipso facto, will help you recognize who you are. So either way, if I'm helping you escape the Fajan or if I'm escaping the Fajan, I accomplish it doing the same thing. And so once I recognize that that's what's going on here, easy, because once I choose to be loving and solve the problem so that we can all wake up, if I'm the one who's being Fajaned and I'm not seeing things correctly, yippee, I'll wake up and see things the way they really are. If it's you, as I hope it is and suspect it is, well, then you will wake up and see things as they really are. No need to thank me. It's just the Fajan. Happy to help. But what we are doing, so many of us, is we are identifying incorrectly. We would not recognize ourselves if we walked up and said hello. We wouldn't recognize ourselves. No, I don't mean the physical form. You know, a lot of us, we have reached a stage of body identification or physical identification that is unhealthy for us, instead of spirit identification. Now, the 9 principles are these. Number 1, there's no neutrality in the universe. Number 2, you can't cast out darkness with more darkness. Number 3, the opposite of weakness is love. Number 4, believing in separation is insanity. Number 5, we only defend what we believe to be vulnerable. Number 6, the only thing missing is what I'm not giving. Number 7, you recognize truth, you don't learn it. Number 8, changing your mind is a sign of wisdom. And number 9, forgiveness is the only option. Okay, by the time you have internalized all of those 9 principles, there is no way you will be caught in the Fajan. You will have no choice but to escape it and see things as they are, to be able to see the truth of what something is, what it truly is. If we are identifying with something other than love, that is taking us away from what we truly are. I'm sure you would agree with that. We all have to do it. I mean, I have to get into a car and drive down the street. Therefore, I can't identify as a beam of light driving a car. I have to be a person who's put my foot on the pedal and the brake, right? You know, I mean, we get that. But when I see you, if I have identified you as something separate from me, I'm doomed. And the more we do that, the further we go down the Fajan. And before you know it, when you see your brother or your sister, you no longer identify as the same thing. You identify as separate from, and you're doomed, because believing in separation is insanity. That's principle number 4. Isn't it? Yes, that's principle number 4. Now, that said, principle number 2, you can't cast out darkness with more darkness. I can't go around fighting my way into a loving relationship with the rest of the universe. You know what I mean? That's insanity. But there's no neutrality in the universe. That's number 1. So I can't just say, well, I'm just not into politics. I don't talk about politics. Of course you do. If you don't, that would be a foolish thing. You know, to ignore what's going on around me would be foolish. And that's a form of identification. If I think to myself, I'm going to do what I know to be foolish. If you don't know it's foolish, then unfortunately, that's a whole different problem. But if we are acting as though we are foolish, we are therefore a fool. We have to be very clear as to what the words are that we use to identify ourselves. When we say things that are not loving, what that means is we believe, we identify with an unloving person, a loveless person, a cruel person. And we all have moments where we are out of our minds. You know, when people will talk about how they are out of their mind, I was not in my right mind, I had lost my mind. You have to know when you lose your mind. You know, I was out of my mind. I was, by definition, thinking I was somebody that I know I am not. But I had a moment, whether it was drug-induced, alcohol-induced, or the drugs that my brain releases when I am under a lot of stress-induced. It all has the same effect. I start believing that I'm something that I'm not. Because the words that we speak when we are speaking to somebody that we know is our brother or sister, or maybe we have forgotten that they are our brother or sister, who they are and how they voted and who they believe they are or have identified with is irrelevant regarding the words that are going to come out of my mouth towards them. Because the words that I speak aren't a reflection of you or your thoughts. The words that I speak are simply a reflection of the person that I believe myself to be, no more and no less. And I have to be aware of that. I am incapable of speaking words that I do not believe reflect who I am, because human beings, we don't do that. You know what I mean? I don't say things that a fool would say knowingly, because I don't consider myself a fool. Sometimes, generally starting after 11 o'clock p.m. on a Friday night until Monday morning, I have been known in the past to lose my mind, believe that I'm a fool, therefore act like it and speak like it. But make no mistake, if somebody has a pattern of speaking in deceptive ways, it's because they are deceptive. They see themselves as a liar, and that's okay for them. If you see someone who's constantly trying to fool you or trick you, that is because they are a charlatan. You don't just act like a charlatan. You either are or you're not. You either see yourself as a loving person or an unloving person. That would determine whether you speak loving words or loveless words. See what I'm saying? How you identify is huge, huge. Our words are the form of the substance of who we are. The words help the substance of who we believe ourselves to be take shape. So anytime we speak words that are a form of fear that we are carrying, or if we are speaking violent words, aggressive words, hostile words, anytime we are speaking loveless words, words that do not come from the core of who we are. When I see people that I recognize, you know, to remember, to recognize means to know again. When I see people who I recognize as being from where I'm from, and we speak the same language, it fills my heart because it's easy to speak to them. We recognize that, and I can speak your language easily. If I'm not doing that, if I'm speaking words that are angry words, if I'm speaking words that are loveless words that are somehow meant to teach you a lesson, to show you what your place is, to show you you're wrong, to laugh at you, or to warn you how you're going to get it because I know I'm still right and you're about to really regret what you just did. If they're coming from something other than love, what that really is a callback where I'm saying, help me find you again. I'm lost. I don't know where I am. And I want to find home. Because once we are home in love, that's the best place to be. You know, we all want to be there. But it's amazing how when you fall out of love, for example, you can spiral down a vortex of bitterness. And you think, I'm not finished yet. I have not eaten my share of bitterness. You know, I'm not full yet. Once I am, I'll let you know. Until then, you're not going to hear any loving words coming out of his mouth. That is a call back. We are hurt, and we are calling, please, love, come and save the day, as I know you can. We're the ones who bring it so that it can save our day. The way you can do that is by showing people just as love would to us if we call it. Even if we, this is the good news, if we invite love in, it responds fully to the slightest invitation. I was listening to something today. I wish I could credit the author, but it was the Bible, so I really assumed they're dead. When those passages were written about ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, the reason those were written down and have resonated with us for centuries or more, for millennia, it's because those words are true. There's a ring of truth to them. When they talk about a ring of truth, it's because that vibration, the frequency of those words, respond to and activate a frequency in me that recognizes them as truth. We don't learn that. When we hear it, yes, that's right, we recognize it. Seek and you will find. The Holy Spirit, God, Buddha, love responds fully to the slightest invitation that we send out. So if I ask, okay, I don't need to ask to heal our political rift. I don't need to ask to be friends again. I just want to ask to somebody, whoever you are, the universe, God, love, Buddha, whatever, Ra. I evidently cannot see this correctly. If I'm not seeing love, I'm not seeing it correctly, because you're my brother, you're my sister, and you are all going back to the same place. Love is our birthright. That's it. It's our inheritance. That's it. We're all going back there together. If I don't see that, there's something wrong. What I need to ask for is, please take my eyes from me and replace them with yours. I want to see this through the lens of love. That is very different. And when I ask for that, for example, when you ask for that, you will get it. And to help somebody recognize who they are is to let them know, I see you. Even when you stray away and you forget who you are, that's what we're here to help each other do. Remember who we are. Escape the Fajan. That ipso facto will help you remember who you are. What's the easiest way to do that? Think about this. If you voted in the last election, chances are you voted for something and against something. You voted because you wanted that and you were afraid of that, right? All of us were. We knew what we wanted and we were afraid of what would happen if we did not get what we wanted. There should be no fear in the equation because we've already lost it all. I mean, whatever we are afraid of losing, we're guaranteed to lose it. There are very few guarantees in life. One of the guarantees is you will lose every single thing that you are afraid of losing eventually. It's already written. That's done. So whatever you're afraid of losing, take it to the bank. You have already lost it. That page has been written. So what we should instead worry about is this page right today. That's for us. Now for the Phajaan, the Enneagram is a unique program because there are 9 compulsions in the human experience. Each one of us is going to have one of these compulsions. Most of us have all of the compulsions on some level, but most of us, we will have just one compulsion that will guide us through life, that will push us. It will be that compulsion that compels us to behave in unhealthy ways and in healthy ways. For example, the one would be, I am if I am perfect. I must be perfect. It is my compulsion to be perfect. If I am not perfect, I'm going to find a way to be perfect, or at least to project the image of perfection, especially on a moral level. What are they afraid of? They are afraid of being judged as immoral. They are afraid of being seen as imperfect. Not so much in a physical sense, which they are, but in a, oh, I see, you're flawed. I see the chink in your armor. You, not your work, not your clothes, not your house or your kids or your career. You are flawed. You're not perfect. You're flawed. So many of the ones, for example, they voted the way they voted because they wanted to be seen, even if it's just to themselves, as doing the right thing. In the description below, there will be a link for the Phajaan, so you can read more and learn more about that. And your Enneagram at a Glance, which is a handout that will help you recognize at a glance, hence the name, what type somebody is and give you a quick reference to remember what are their hot buttons? What are they afraid of? What do they want to be seen as? What are they afraid of being seen as? What do they need? What is their compulsion that they must fulfill so they can get unstuck? You know what I'm saying? So we could talk about politics. We could not talk about politics. You could believe something opposite from what I believe. You could believe the same thing. All of that is irrelevant when it comes to the way I feel about you because I recognize you. I see you as me. We are from the same place. We are from the same family. You're my brother, and I love you. If we can tell more people that, for example, a two, twos have to be needed. If they're not needed, what are they? So I want you to know, I need you. No matter who you vote for, no matter who you voted for, no matter how you think, no matter where you see yourself fitting in to this political landscape, I want to tell you, I want to let you know that that's irrelevant to me because I see where you really fit in. And that's in my family because you are my brother or my sister. You aren't going to be my brother or my sister, but I want to let you know that and come with that attitude. I want to identify with you because that's what we are. That's the truth of it. And we kind of know all of this in a metaphysical, existential way. Many of us already know that, but we aren't practicing it. Remember that when you think unloving thoughts, the easiest way to break that pattern and to reprogram your thoughts is to reprogram your words, because just as our words are a reflection of our thoughts, and the number one thing that affects our words is our thoughts, the number one thing that affects our thoughts is our words. That goes in reverse. So if I just go around saying crazy things, I will eventually become crazy. If I say loving things, I will become more loving. If I say supportive things, positive things, whatever I keep saying, I will start to believe. We've also seen that. I can Fajan myself. And some people will say things like, no, we've all Fajaned ourselves. In fact, I Fajaned myself a couple hours ago. If we can focus on remembering during this most difficult process that a lot of us are going through, and we have to remember that half of us, one half, when I'm looking at you right now, when you're looking at me, it's either you or me. So say that out loud. It's you or me. When we're standing behind somebody in line at the grocery store, it's either them or you. And you don't know based on what they told you or what they tell you they think, how they really think. It's a very rare person who actually knows what they think. But to tell us, that's come on. So again, to learn more about the Fajan, how it's insidious. What it is the story that I put in the link it's a book that I wrote recently about Carlos the painting elephant who has been Fajaned. Sometimes in hearing other people's story, in this book, it's an autobiography really written by the elephant. When we hear other people's story, that sometimes makes it very easy for us, or at least gives us permission to identify with that and recognize the same thing in our own life. Once we realize, for example, that all of these limitations I've been putting on myself are exactly that. I've been putting them on myself. The limitations in my life, once I unshackle myself from the chains that I have put on me, we realize how limitless we are. We can really do anything as long as we believe it. And it's amazing how when somebody tells us who we are, we start to believe that. Like my grandmother used to always tell me good things, which were not true at the time. But I eventually wanted to live up to those expectations because we are what we believe we are. And that's reflected in our words. Whatever we believe we are comes out. There's no way to hide it. I want to reveal to everybody on a conscious and subconscious level that what I am and what I will see you as is love. Because there's nothing that we have to say that we can't say in a loving way. Once we've started there, once we have started by taking the position that is correct and seeing things the way they are, there is no problem here. It's just some people have been Fajaned. That said, I know who you really are and I will help you recognize that. That will help us break the Fajan. Then to connect with you and let you know I see you as who you are. Learn the Enneagram and learn what each number needs to hear, then tell that to people. Like for example, the 4. The 4 needs to be special. If they're not special, they don't know who they are. So they will live a life, if they are unhealthy and have not yet recognized, let's say, what their unhealthy side is. They will constantly be looking for ways to show, you don't know me, I'm special. I'm not like the others. If you were special like me, you'd know what it's like, but you are not, so you do not. That's the 4. So I want to let them know, because if they have been Fajaned, remember, they were acting out of fear, we can help them break that. If we have been Fajaned, helping them break it will wake us up. Either way, it's a win-win. I don't need to speak unloving words. I don't need to teach you a lesson. I don't need to wait till things blow up in your face. None of that is coming from a loving place. That's all coming from fear. If I instead, however, decide, if you're a 4, for example, to let you know, it doesn't matter to me who you voted for. What matters to me is how unique you are. And the fact that you will express yourself through your vote, through your dance, through your food, through whatever, the way you speak, the way you talk, the way you write, any way, including the way you vote, is an expression of you. As long as you're doing that as an expression of you, we are good, because you are unique. And I don't know the best expression for you. You would, because you're so special. If we can start from that place, that is what will help wake each and every one of us up from the Fajan, which is a nightmare when you were in it. I mean, God, do you remember high school? And until we do that, we are all going to be as you have felt. Right now, we're going into a season of darkness. I'm from North Dakota. We have long days, and then half the year we have long nights. During those long nights, I don't think that the sun has abandoned me. I don't. When it's a really dark night and it's been a really long night, I know without a shadow of a doubt that sun will come up, or else I wouldn't be here. None of us would. I know that. I'm guaranteed of very few things. One of the things is whether I'm here or not, that sun's coming up. Maybe not forever, the universe is constantly in a state of change, but one thing, as long as I'm here, that sun's coming up. If they believed in the darkness, you probably learned, darkness isn't even a real thing. It doesn't exist. It is simply the absence of light. Darkness is just someplace where the light has not yet arrived. But as long as you are there, you are the light. You have arrived. You will illuminate it. A lot of us think about fighting battles. Some of us think about rising above battles. Illuminate your battlefield by showing up as the person who you really are. You can't help but light things up. And when the light comes, when the sun comes up, everything looks different. Everything looks different in the light, as you know. We do things in the darkness, thinking that the light has abandoned us, that we would never do when the light comes on. I mean, I would never sit anywhere and eat an entire tub of extra buttered popcorn if it weren't for in a movie theater. I don't even do it at home because I can see me doing it. But I'll do it in the dark in a movie theater because it's in the dark. I don't know why. I know it's wrong. We will do a lot of things in the dark because it's in the dark. And there's something in us, there's a fear within us so often that maybe the sun's not coming back. The sun didn't abandon you. It's just night. That's all it is. We're always in a cycle. So don't be afraid. You're supposed to bring you're the light. You're bringing it. And when we find ourselves in a place of darkness, when we find ourselves Phajaan, when we have forgotten who we are, remember, we can't learn who we are. We have to remember it. We have to go back. To remember who we are, we have to go back. You have to go home. You have to take a step back before you can take a step forward. It's okay. Remember the truth. Return home to love. And it will all be okay. It will all be okay anyway. Just remember, you have already lost everything. It's written. There's absolutely no way you could not lose everything. So why not live as though that doesn't matter? And live knowing where you're going home to and where you came from. And start recognizing people and helping them recognize themselves and snap out of the Phajaan. And if you think that what goes on in Washington or what goes on in your local or state or federal government has the power, or you have given it the power to take your inheritance from you, to determine whether or not your day, your relationship, your life has meaning, or whether or not you will have peace or joy or love, if you have decided that based on these external factors, you either will or will not enjoy your inheritance and go back home, that is insanity. That is an emergency situation. Because many of us are going into our holiday dinners thinking to ourselves as we are going in, okay, I'm gonna be cool. But if they say this, if they say that, if they bring this up, if they pull this one, that's it. I will let them have it. Stay home until you can control yourself. Because as human beings, when people say that I can't help it, I just can't control myself, then you should stay home and you should look for someone to take care of you because you're not able to take care of yourself. You have been let out of the oven a little bit too early. You're not yet cooked like a child would be. If you are unable to control yourself, that means you are out of control. That means who is out of control, who acts as though they are out of control? People who are out of control. Who's a person who's out of control? A lunatic, a psycho, or maybe they just don't know any better, a moron, an idiot. And if you're watching this up until this point, you are none of those things. You might lose your mind. But if you go into a situation planning on that, and saying, once they cross this line, once they say that, that's my cue to let them have it, as a crazy person would. That you're Fajaning yourself. Stop. Don't, if you're going to Fajan yourself, do it like most of us do in the bathroom with the door closed. Okay. I mean, it's the holiday season, for heaven's sake. Do that. Keep that to yourself. What is that? And once you escape the Fajan, what will you do? You'll get back to enjoying your life, because that's what we're here to do. You'll get back to enjoying your time with other people as you're supposed to do. You will enjoy your relationships as you are supposed to do, because we don't escape it naturally. Something has to trigger us. That's what we're here to do on the earth, is to help one another escape the Fajan and go home. Help one another go home. Help each other wake up. We can do that. We do that by returning to love first. Then you realize, I'm already home. Make sure that if you found any value in this video, that you subscribe to this channel and share it on places like Facebook and other places where people go to get information like this. And make sure to hit that notification bell so that you're notified when great new videos like this come out, like this one. If you like this video, you're going to like that one. So I'll see you in there, okay? Escape the Fajan.